Okay, hi there, Seyoung. We've got your first set of essays. Let's get right to it. Okay, school is more entertaining or just educational. Here's what you said. Some people say that schools should entertain pupils, or it is not the way supposed to be, and the core role is only education. While others think that schools should remain as learning places, I believe that it can be fun places for youngsters, and they can produce better learning outcomes, and schools have responsibilities for socialization. Okay, it's structured appropriately, but some of the grammar needs some work. So let's look at fixing some of that, okay? So some people say that schools should entertain pupils, whereas others say that the core role is only education. Okay, I think it would be a better option here. While some think that schools should remain only as learning places, I believe it has to be they because it's schools, can be fun places for youngsters, which produce better learning outcomes. Okay, full stop. And this, I would get rid of it for a couple of reasons. Grammatically, number one, grammatically, to fit it into the sentence will make it a little too complicated. The second reason is that I don't think it, in terms of the content, really belongs here. Okay, so I would probably have just gotten rid of that. Let's see what you did in your body paragraphs now. Firstly, enjoyable activities can encourage pupils to be eager and learn more, which can lead to better results of progress. This is because entertainment programs would be able to bring pupils' attention. Would be able to raise pupils' attention and would make them want to study harder. Okay? It seems like they do not learn anything valuable, but they can keep up with subjects later. All right, I would have preferred a little more academic sounding language and not so much something that sounds kind of conversational here. So something perhaps like while the academic benefits of such programs may not be immediately evident, and then you could have said something else, okay? So, for example, in recent research, we don't use A with research because research isn't countable. So, recent research in North America for teenagers at one of the high schools shows that a group of students who participated in classes actively received 10% higher marks, get rid of more likely, on the examinations than not the other group, because you didn't tell us what group. So, okay, likewise, relaxing and interesting atmosphere can be a better technique of teaching. All right, so here's what's happening here. You started off okay, no problems, but your example here doesn't really connect. Let me tell you why. Because you talk all of a sudden about students who participate in classes actively. Yeah, but you know, a class can be purely academic, and students can participate actively. So I don't see how your example here relates back to this idea of entertainment in the classroom. Okay? So that's my concern here. However, if you had said that a recent research in North America shows that a group of students who participated in classes with an entertainment component scored 10% higher marks on examinations than students who did not, then that would have been okay. All right? Let's take a look at the next paragraph now. Oh, and one more thing before I do. Relaxing and interesting atmosphere can be a better technique of teaching. It doesn't fit, number one, because none of this really talked about relaxation. All right, so I don't understand why this is here. I don't understand if this is supposed to be tying back to that first sentence in the paragraph. Also, the word likewise, if that's what you're supposed to be doing here, then it's wrong. Likewise is not an appropriate word. It should be something like therefore, consequently, something like that. The use of the word likewise makes me feel that you're simply adding another point, another main idea. And then it would have had to be a relaxing and interesting atmosphere. Okay? And also, these are not techniques of teaching, so even the vocabulary here is wrong. Instead, you could say a relaxing and interesting atmosphere is more conducive to a better learning environment. All right, something like that. Or they create a better learning environment. All right, let's look at the next paragraph now. Moreover, young pupils can adapt to social behavior while they are having fun. This is to say that they could naturally learn with activities in which they get to be involved. Take, for example, no, that doesn't work here. So, get rid of this, and then they will have to communicate and discuss with each other about tasks that will lead them to use social skills, and this will not be learned when they are listening to lectures. Therefore, this kind of attitude could contribute to our society in the future. The world has too many criminals, even though some of them are highly educated, which means schools and teachers teach only books, not discipline for pupils. That is why I think moral behavior is important, not only memorizing lectures. All right, so again, you started off okay. You talked about having fun, but then I feel like the rest of this was really just talking about essentially just changes to the education system and not really keeping this idea of entertainment. I think you were too focused on this idea of the skills students can get while working with other students, and you didn't hold on to the fact that we're talking about entertainment in the classroom. Okay? I mean, here you start talking about criminals, you start talking about discipline, you start talking about moral behavior. So that all just felt really like it was getting off topic, all right? Okay, so in conclusion, some would argue that schools should only educate pupils. I disagree with the statement, and schools should play a vital role to make children happy. That would bring more optimistic results. Okay, it's a little long for one sentence. I would have liked it split up someplace, but it's fine, okay? And then I don't even know if you needed to include this. So in conclusion, I disagree that schools should only educate students, as entertainment in the classroom develops other aspects of a student's personality and character that are of paramount importance for his growth as a person. Something like that. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at this enjoyable activity with a child. Children can improve their abilities and be more creative when they participate in fun activities than reading books. Let's fix this. Children can improve their abilities and be more creative than when they read books, okay? I strongly agree with the statement because it can make youngsters smarter and create their imaginations. Well, you don't really create an imagination, you develop an imagination. Firstly, amusement of participating in such programs could develop youngsters' brains. I don't understand this. Amusement of participating in such programs doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you mean, I don't know, the amusement of participating in. Maybe this is what you mean. This is to say that when their senses, such as feeling or touching, can stimulate. This is to say that their senses, such as feeling or touching, can stimulate their brain functions. For example, research without the A from Seoul National University Hospital shows that any activities created endorphin hormone, gave a signal to brain stems, and this caused brain cells to be activated. Okay, let's try that one more time. Any activities? What are we talking about here? I mean, isn't reading an activity? So I'm really confused about this. So any activity, but which activities? That created the endorphin hormone, gave a signal to brain stems, and this caused brain cells to be activated. Grammatically, it has a lot of problems. The investigator tested people with some tasks and increased people's ability to learn more quickly and remember longer than before during the program. I really don't understand what we're talking about here. There's something that makes it really incoherent. I'm not understanding what activities you're talking about. I think you're telling me that it helps people develop their memory and remember longer, but I'm really just rather confused here. Okay, and then this is grammatically incorrect. Therefore, young children could be improved. No. Therefore, young children could improve their IQ if they have proper stimulation, not with a joy. If they have proper stimulation that provides joy or that inspires joy or something like that. Okay, secondly, imagination can be developed more imagination can be developed more easily with freedom. An atmosphere is one of the most important, or the atmosphere is one of the most important factors to be creative, and obstructive and limited environments, S, will not help. I don't know what this means, to have various creation. I don't understand that. For instance, Google is a well-known company to never build, Google is well known to never have typical offices for each department in the whole company area. The purpose is to let employees be more creative and advanced so the company can develop ideas. Consequently, children can also be possible to open their capacity. Right, grammatically this is problems. Children cannot be possible. No, children can be able to open their imagination. This really has, it's off topic, I'm afraid, okay? I mean, you're talking about Google, and that's not what you're supposed to be talking about here. You're supposed to be talking about what kind of enjoyable activity can help develop creativity and imagination in a child, okay? And how that activity does this better than reading can. This is what you're supposed to be discussing here. Okay, there's lots of stuff you could have talked about. You could have talked about musical instruments. You could have talked about art. You could have talked about writing stories rather than reading them, and how this develops imagination, it develops vocabulary, it develops obviously writing skills. I mean, the list goes on and on, okay, and that none of these could be accomplished just by reading, which is such a passive activity that, yeah, while it does develop some things, it's, far more passive in comparison. All right, so this is the direction you need to be going here, and not talking about how important atmosphere is. I mean, there's no activity that you're talking about here, so this is absolutely irrelevant. In conclusion, I believe that youngsters cannot, it's one word, only show their creativity, but also increase their abilities using enjoyable tasks. It is predicted that if children at schools have more activities, that would make them smarter, and it could be a valuable period for society as a whole. All right, that's okay. All right, I think I've been really clear with what some of the weaknesses of these two essays are. You're off to a nice start, but there's a lot of work to do. So let's talk about what the next step is. The first step is to correct these essays based on my suggestions and send those back to us. Secondly, you're going to create an error correction list where you write down what all the mistakes were, and next to each mistake, write down what the corrected version will be. This is a list that you're going to add to with each essay correction you get back. And then the third thing, of course, is to write us a new set of essays, applying everything you've been learning in the course so far. So go ahead, get that started, and let's meet back here in the next day or so with your new set of essays, okay? Good luck, and I'll be waiting.